Good morning to one and all. Welcome you all to the Daily Indian Express newspaper analysis for the date 4th January 2024, brought to you by Ganesh IAS Academy. Okay, let's get into the today's newspaper analysis. So mentioned here are we are going to have the analysis in the upcoming slides. So have a look at it. Okay, let's analyze the each and every article one by one. How and why DBT works, that is direct benefit transfer works. So the news is related to the pros as well as the cons of the DBT. Okay, let's move on to the details of the news. How then first we will look into how the news is being related to examination. Under prelims, the news is related to Indian polity and governance, that is constitution, political system, Panchayat Raj, public policy, rights issues, etc. Similarly, under mains GS paper 2, it is GS paper 3, it has been related to issues related to direct as well as indirect farm subsidies and MSPs, PDS, etc. Okay, this is how it has been related to examination. Okay, let's look into the explanation of the news. See, before 2018, government has launched PM Kisan scheme to provide the income support to the landholding farm families at a rate of 6,000 rupees per year in the 3 installment during that year. And the opposition party, as a part of their election manifesto, has launched NYAY, that is minimum income scheme, under which the woman would be receiving at least 60,000 to 70,000 per year. So this is how the welfare scheme has been designed by the respective political parties. First we will look into what is the difference between NYAY as well as NYAY and PM Kisan and the universal basic income. See, first of all, the universal basic income is the concept is to provide a basic income to every members of the population, be it rich or poor. Every member will be given a basic income. And the idea behind giving basic income to every population, every citizen of the country is to make he or she to lead a decent life, and also at the same time reduce cut the cost of running a large number of welfare scheme, and also at the same time tax everyone in the way universal basic income has been funded, as a result of which the poor people will be getting benefited, but the richest who is getting the universal basic income will get the amount taxed away in the form of taxation. So this is what the universal basic income is about, and the amount that has been provided by the government to the citizen will be very large, which will be suitable for a particular person's leading a decent standard of life. But in the case of PM Kisan as well as the other NYAY, the similar like scheme which has been introduced by the government in the recent years, they want to remove any, if this scheme is going to be implemented, means the other welfare schemes won't be get removed, and at the same time the amount that has been provided by the respective schemes is smaller when compared to the universal basic income, which provides a decent amount of money for a person to live a decent standard of living. And the scheme this schemes, that is PM Kisan as well as NYAY scheme, have been targeted at specific groups, but in the case of universal basic income, it covers the entire population of the country. So this is what the difference between universal basic income and then the other welfare schemes like PM Kisan and NYAY. So why universal basic income is not implemented in India? First and foremost is the cost. Because of the high affordability, government could not able to implement this scheme. For example, the rich country like Switzerland, which initially considered of implementing the universal basic income, have revoked their decision for implementing it because of the high cost it makes. Secondly, the lack of political will. So if the universal basic income is going to get implemented, means other welfare schemes will get revoked. Similarly, the taxation will get increased, which the political parties will hesitate to do because of the losing of vote. So this is the reason why it hasn't been implemented in India. And what is the argument for the direct benefit transfer is, See, there is a traditional thinking. Whenever if a particular person is going to help poor people of the society, means there is a saying that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for the lifetime. This is what the thing is about. So this is the quote that has been stated against the direct benefit transfer. But there are certain arguments in favor of it. For example, if a man needed to learn how to catch a fish, means first of all he need to be healthy, and at the same time he or she should not suffer from hunger. If he or she is suffering from hunger and he or she is suffering from the nutrient deficient and some similar other health related deficiency, means he or she could not able to learn how to fish, which in turn will reduce their capability to earn for their lifetime. So this is what the argument that has been placed in favor of DBT. So to overcome such kind of hunger and then the health related issue, and to make he or she to get ready for the developmental related activity, means an initial push need to be given in the form of welfare schemes. So that is the reason why direct benefit transfer is needed. And at the same time, so this is the two principles under which it has been implemented. That is, a feeble man can't learn much on the empty stomach. So secondly, a man would be motivated enough to learn if he or she is provided a situation to learn. Situation to learn means a healthy environment, a healthy body, as well as the without any situation where there is no hunger. So this is what the argument that has been placed in favor of it. During 2010, a social scientist named Joseph Handlon and the development economist named Armando Barrientos, as well as David Hulme, wrote a book called Just Give Money to the Poor, the Development Revolution from the Global South. It has flagged 4 paradigm shift in thinking about the well-being of the poor and then the vulnerable. What are the 4 paradigm shift that has been taken place in the history of the global world with regard to the helping the poor people to come out of the poverty? Is during the 16th century, the England government for the first time accepted the responsibility for ensuring subsistence to all. Similarly, after some times during 19th century, it is the second paradigm shift. During the 19th century in Europe, government's social spending got increased, like in the form of pension and then sickness benefit and then old age insurance. Such kind of welfare related schemes being implemented in Europe from 19th century onwards. Then the third paradigm shift happened during 20th century, where adequate standard of living became the human right, and at the same time government responsibilities have also got increased to ensure that human right will be preserved. And at the same time, the rich northern countries also took responsibility to help the poor south country to come out of the poverty. This is what the third paradigm shift. And the fourth paradigm shift happened during the 21st century, where the global south country, which was historically been considered as developing or the poverty country, took a lead in formulating cash transfer as the right to the people, so that they will be coming out of the shackles of poverty. So these are all the 4 paradigm shifts that has been quoted in the book written by the social scientist as well as the development economist. And also at the same time, such cash transfer, that is the DBT, creates a virtuous cycle of development. For example, the same book has argued that the families with assured income, the income may be small, but they begin to take a small amount of risk by investing in their future, by buying better seed to increase their farm productivity, purchase their goods that can be sold locally, or even spend more time for looking better jobs so that they will be coming out from the casual labor works or the other informal work where they have been repressed. So this is what the developmental cycle which the DBT triggers. And at the another book being written by the Handlon, Barrientos and Hulme, what they are saying is that the small guarantee provides a foundation to transform their life, and also they act as the ladder to come out of the cycle of poverty which the people have been subjected to. So these are all the arguments that has been put in favor of DBT. So this is what the thing that is related to the difference between the PM Kisan Nyai scheme versus the universal basic income, and then the argument that is for the DBT. So what are all the things which we needed to be further study is, we should be aware of PM Kisan scheme, Narega scheme, and then the Kisan credit card scheme, their objectives, structure, as well as the implementing authorities, who are all we should be aware of it. And with this we have reached the end of this topic. VVPAT and the fresh debate over them. So the Lok Sabha election is on the cards in the next year, coming months. So the VVPAT's discussion, the debate related to it has cropped up. So that is the reason why the news has also appeared in the today's newspaper. So okay, let's look into first how the news has been related to examination. Under prelims, it is related to Indian polity, governance, constitution, political system, Panchayat Raj, and public policy rights issues. Similarly, under GS paper 2, it has been related to appointments to various constitutional posts, powers, functions, and responsibility of various constitutional bodies. So this is how the news has been related with the examination. And let's look into why the news first appeared in the newspaper. The opposition party passed a resolution which called for 100% verification of the VVPAT slip, which is being used in the elections. And first we will look into what are the VVPATs. Whenever a vote is cast, a VVPAT machine which is attached to the ballot unit of the electronic voting machine will print out a slip of paper where the voter's choice will be indicated on it, and the printed slip will be visible for 7 seconds for the verification by the voters. And the idea of the VVPAT was first emerged in 2010 to make polling process more transparent, and at the same time in 2013 it was first introduced in Noksen Assembly constituency in Nagaland in 2013. Similarly, after it was introduced in phased manner, and then it was introduced in a full-fledged manner in 2019 Lok Sabha election. So why what percentage of VVPAT slip are counted at present is, see, during 2018 Election Commission mandated counting VVPAT slip of one randomly selected polling booth station per Constitution Assembly. After the Supreme Court judgment in 2019, it got increased to 5 polling stations per Constitution Assembly. And at the same time, Indian Statistical Institute has reported to the Election Commission in 2019 for testing the random sample of 479 EVM machines to ensure that the integrity of the VVPAT has been maintained. So this is what the recommendation and the thing that has been followed recently with regards to the VVPAT machine. So what was the Election Commission India said on the 100% counting? Apart from the randomly selecting the 5 polling booth per constituency, the opposition party are demanding 100% counting of the VVPAT. For that, Election Commission of India said is that already based on the recommendation of the Supreme Court, they have been checking the 4,000 total assembly seats polling booths. So by converting it into the VVPATs, they are cross verifying the 20,600 EVM VVPAT system, which is very higher than Indian Statistical Institute's recommendation. So this is what the recommendation, the argument that has been given by Election Commission of India. And at the same time, Election Commission of India has said is that what they have said is that the 100% verification of VVPAT will be regressive, and it will be taking back us to the past system of the manual ballot system. And at the same time, counting all the VVPAT slip would be taking time, and it will involve huge amount of cost, and also there is a potential for human error, which in turn will decrease the integrity of the election system. So this is what the arguments that has been placed by Election Commission of India against the 100% counting of the VVPAT. So this is what the thing with regards to the VVPAT is about. So what need to be studied further is, we should be aware of the Election Commission of India, the constitution position, and then Representation of People Act 1951, and then the election petition. What is election petition and who can file the election petition, towards whom the election petition can be filed. So these are all the other areas which we needed to be further aware of, and with this we have reached the end of this topic. Why has 110-year-old Indian Science Congress has been postponed? The Indian Science Congress, which used to take place between Jan 3rd as well as Jan 7th, has been postponed for the first time since its inception in 1914. This is why the news has been in the newspaper. Okay, let's look into how the news is being related to examination. Under prelims, the news is related to current event of national and international importance. Similarly, under mains, it is related to achievements of India in science and technology, and indigenization of technology and developing the new technology, which comes under GS paper 3, science and technology. Okay, let's look into the explanation part of the news. For the first time since the inception of Indian Science Congress, the annual gathering got withheld because of the disagreement between the Indian Science Congress Association and the central government, that is Department of Science and Technology, which is contributing for the running of this the functioning of the Indian Science Congress. And the ISC brings, what is the speciality of the ISC is, they bring together scientists and researchers not just from the country's premier research institutions, but also the teachers of science from various educational institutions like schools and colleges. And it will enable the scientists as well as researchers to interact with the students and public on matters of science. And this is what the speciality with regards to the international Indian Science Congress is about. And ISC has faced severe criticism in the recent days due to declining standards in its functioning, but it has been denied by the ISC, that is the Science Congress Association. Barring the COVID years, it has also held every year since its inception in 1914, but this is the first time it has got postponed. And the Department of Science and Technology in the previous year has withdrawn the financial support that it has been providing to the Congress, alleging the financial irregularity, which again ISC also denied it. Department of Science and Technology has contributed rupees 5 crores, which is up from the 3 crores which it used to provide for the organization of the Indian Science Congress for the events expense. And at the same time, IACA will also get the funding from other government bodies, and at the same time they will also raise their own fund from in the form of charity, so on and so forth. And then the problem started during the disagreement of venue on the event which was planned by IACA to be held on Lovely Profession University, which is in Jalandhar. But what the government was asking is to place it, the event should be held on the Lucknow University, which is in Uttar Pradesh. But IACA doesn't need clearance for choosing the venue. This is what the tussle is about, and there has been steady decline in the standards of the Indian the Science Congress recent time. The speakers those who are giving lectures or producing papers in the event, they don't have any kind of connect with the technology advancement that is happening with the global arena, and at the same time most of their claims are related to pseudoscience. So such kind of activities and then the decline of standards made the government to get blamed, because they are also part and parcel of the funding of this event. And at the same time, the Prime Minister used to give award during the inaugural function of the event. It was later found that most of the scientists who have been awarded were also got that award because of the malified things. So this is what the decline it has faced in the recent years, and the government is facing dilemma in the form of the opposition from the people because of the outdated papers, research things that they have been placing it on the event, and also at the same time the malified awards that has been provided. So these are all the things which made the government to get blamed from the citizen. So it is this the end of the road for the Indian Science Congress? What the Congress Association, Indian Science Congress Association has said is that there will be hopefully the Science Congress will begin before the March 31, and at the same time the government officials also said that the financial support to the Science Congress will get resumed, and there is also a discussion underway to get some kind of reforms in the process of the Indian Science Congress Association and also in the event. So this is what the thing with relation to the news is about. So what are the things which we needed to be further aware of is we should be aware of what is Department of Science and Technologies and their related schemes, and secondly we should also be aware of the directive principle of state policies. Thirdly we should also be aware of the other Indian science awards that has been presented by government. So these are all the other areas which we needed to be further aware of, and with this we have reached the end of this topic. December manufacturing PMI is 18-month low and the slower phase for the orders as well as output. So the PMI index for the manufacturing for the December month has reduced to 18-month low because of the slow phase of orders as well as the slow output. So this is what the news is about. Let's look into how the news has been related to examination. Under prelims it has been related to economic and social development. Similarly under mains it has been related to GS paper 3 economic and development under a subtopic called Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resource, growth, development and employment. Okay, let's look into the explanation part of the news. The Indian manufacturing sector activities have slowed to 18-month low due to softening of the output as well as the new orders, and at the same time the PMI reading also fell to 54.9 last month from the 56 in the November. The PMI value, that is if it is above then 50 means then it indicates expansion of the activity. Even though it is 54.9, it is very less when compared to the previous one. So this is the reason why it has been in news today. And then let's look into what is this purchasing managers index. It is the economic indicator which is derived after the monthly surveys of different companies, and it measures the activities at purchasing or the input stage. And there are two types are being measured under PMI index. One is manufacturing related PMI value and then service related PMI value. They don't capture the informal sector, which is the biggest lack in this calculation as, and it is being released by S&P Global. So this is what the new details of the PMI is about from the prelims perspective. And what is the methodology that has been used for calculation of it is the PMI is derived from a series of the qualitative question, and the questions are related to 5 key variables, and their variables are weighted according to the weightage it carries. For example, the questions related to new orders have been allocated 30% of weight, and then the questions related to the output have been given 25% of weight, and then employment related questions given 20%. Supplies delivery times have been given 50% of weight, and then stocks of items purchased have been given 10% of weight. So these are all the different kinds of weightages that has been provided to each and every variables. So what the significance the PMI holds in an economy is, it is the leading indicator for the economic activity. So it acts as the indicators for overall indicator for the what is going on in an economy. Most importantly the formal economy, and it will make the central bank of many countries to use this as the benchmark to form the policy rate, and also it gives an indication for the corporate companies to get to make their decisions with relation to the investment which they are planning, and also it enables the it will give details with regards to the corporate earnings are the true values of the formal learnings, and at the same time the good reading of the index also enhances the attractiveness of the economy. So this is what the thing or the significance of the PMI index is about. So what need to be studied further is, we should be aware of what is IIP index, which organization is responsible for releasing it. Secondly, we should also be aware of Central Statistical Organization, and then thirdly we should also be aware of GDP, and then finally we should be aware of periodic labor force survey, which are all the indicators that has been calculated under it, and what is the recent outcome of the periodic labor force survey which has been released by the ministry. So these are all the other things which we needed to be further aware of, and with this we have reached the end of this topic. Okay, let's look into today's practice prelims question. Mentioned here is the today's practice prelims question. So those students, those who are watching this session online, please do comment the option point for the question which you are seeing right now on the board. So with this, we have reached the end of today's session. Please do like, comment, share as well as subscribe Ganesh IAS YouTube channel, so that you will be getting the notification related to the daily current affairs session, and also weekly science and tech environment session, and also other important session that will be brought to you in the future by Ganesh IAS Academy. Thank you.